This is Smart Men's Business, and I'm Jerome Paul Sonko to guide you through your morning updates from the world of business. Well, as we head into our on-ground discussions, just to remind you that the issue to do with online fraud has cost Ugandans close to 15 billion Ugandan shillings annually. Ugandans do lose a lot of money, a lot of that particular money, 15 billion shillings annually, due to online fraud and scammers over the internet. And here on our on ground discussions, Marije Andrew brings to you what we can do to mitigate these online fraud and scammers that normally cost us lots of money, from the private sector point of view down to the government organizations and also to the individual base. How can we control this particular pandemic, or whatever you can call it? Let's have more on the ground.
Welcome to Smart Men's Business on Ground. I'm Andrew Barije, and today the discussion, we are talking about cybersecurity and how best you can protect your information. You know, it could be financial information or any other information that is really crucial and very critical to your branding, because your branding is your business. We've seen quite some companies lose billions of money in Uganda due to cyber-related fraud. But today we want to discuss the aspect of how best you can protect yourself. You can protect your information, of course, from being accessed by the wrong people, and they use it for the very wrong reasons. One of this information which is very crucial is the financial information. And also, it could be about your social life. The information could reveal your secrets that are really very vital to your life and your identity to the public right there. Now, today we want to understand how best can a company set up a secure cyber security protocol to ensure that their financial information that is very confidential is not really reached out to. And also, we need to also investigate. We're going to investigate how you as an individual, you can actually protect yourself, your information, from being accessed by the wrong people. Remember, your information is your secret to your success. And with me is a cybersecurity expert. That's Jerome Okot from Milima Securities. Of course, he's going to make a further introduction of himself, of what he really does, as we discuss deeper these matters. Jerome, you're welcome on Smart Men's Business on Ground.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Once again, he's already mentioned my name. Quite easy, right? My name is Jerome Okot, like he's already mentioned. I'm in the security space. You called me an expert. Thank you for those bragging rights. I'm the Chief Operations Officer at Milima Security, and also a tutor at Milima Cyber Academy. Now, Milima Cyber Academy is a training arm of Milima Security. Milima Security, though, is a leading cybersecurity firm in Uganda. We do mainly cybersecurity trainings, both at the awareness or basic level for everybody who uses technology, to appreciate what cybersecurity is and how they are impacted one or another. And also at the technical level, we train technical teams to know how do they deal with hackers in the real event of an incident. So that's what Milima does, and yeah, it's good to have you here.
Thank you so much. And now, today, we want to discuss the security protocols. First of all, how can a company really, what are the steps for a company to establish a secure, let me say, to secure their information? You know, it could be financial information, it could be information that can tarnish very confidential information, social in that aspect. How best can a company protect itself from losing its information to the wrong people?
All right, thank you very much. What's very important to note, first of all, is before you treat a problem or you take care of a problem, you need to understand what exactly the problem is. So it goes without a doubt to mention that fraud is one of the biggest challenges we're having currently, most especially financial fraud. This stems from the main reason as to why people commit cybercrime. People commit cybercrime for the one main gain. It comes in different forms, but it also ends up in one thing: for the desire to get money. So financial fraud is one of the biggest challenges we're having. So if we only understood what fraud is, and simply put, fraud is any illicit or deceitful means with which someone obtains information that they then use to take advantage of unsuspecting victims. Now, that is what fraud is. it can take on different forms. Could be financial, could be data fraud, or all those kinds. Now, in order for you now to protect yourself against such fraud, you need to put in measures that protect your data assets or your money or your accounts or your people from being defrauded. One of the core things is, first of all, enlighten your teams about cyber fraud or cyber security as a whole. Milima Security, day in, day out, provides cyber security awareness trainings. It is important for management teams to train all their staff about basic cyber security and let them know that they can be targets and let them know that hackers are out there. Secondly, let companies put in place measures or stringent means to ensure accountability and to ensure various checks and balances to ensure that they know the security posture of their companies. Very many companies don't know their cyber security posture. How do you know that? Simply carry out a cyber security audit. Every financial year, people carry out financial audits. How about we also do cyber security audits? It's only then that you can tell what you look like in terms of your cyber threat posture. Yeah, so with that, with an audit and training, it then becomes easy for you to tell where your weaknesses are. Then you can go on to invest in technologies that protect your resources and your staff from cyber attacks. You can go on and design cybersecurity policies that then help you stay ahead of the hackers. Go on and invest in constant training of your technical teams and your corporate staff. I think by so doing, it then becomes easier to combat cyber fraud and cyber attacks generally. Yeah.
Now, you've talked about all those steps. Maybe can we examine the cost of that? A company CEO out there would want to know, who's interested to put these policies in place. Let's examine the cost of this implementation of these steps.
Of course, if I may ask you, what is 10 million in respect to a 50 million shillings loss? It's very little. About 20%. And that's a very painful thing for many businesses. Now, cybersecurity investments are to me, or costs of cybersecurity solutions are to me an investment rather than an actual expenditure. Now, for a cybersecurity audit, depending on the size of the business, anywhere from give or take 10 million to even 100 million, depending on the size of the company that we're talking about. The size is determined by the infrastructure they have in place, the number of locations they have, and their nature of operations. The cost of an audit for a bank or financial institution may be different from the cost of an audit for a SACCO or a fintech. Yeah, so it varies. The trainings as well are quite affordable, anywhere from $300 to over $5,000, depending on the nature of trainings, whether it's highly technical or corporate or even at the academy. Yeah.
A very interesting aspect. Maybe can we examine scenarios where companies that have employed those cybersecurity measures have actually survived serious attacks, or a loss might have occurred, but it might have been worse than what happened? If we can examine scenarios of that which we've seen happen. We may not mention names, but we can take a look at a scenario according to your experience.
Well, there are a number of forensics investigations we're currently carrying out. There's one interesting client who at one point needed a cybersecurity audit. How did we know this? We carried out a training for them, and we recommended an audit, and they did not implement. But because the teams had now been trained, they were able to notice instances of attack on them, a ransomware here, network down here and there, and before we knew it, they got a big blow in a space of about 3 years from the time we trained them. Now, if this company had done a cybersecurity audit, they probably would have noticed beforehand the problem that befell them eventually. So that's one scenario. While there is another where we recommended an audit, and indeed they discovered that there was what we call insider attack, or malicious insiders were releasing data to rival clients. This was a law firm, you see. So you find that those two different scenarios prepare the client in one way or another to either defend or deflect the attack, or to reduce the negative or adverse impact of this attack on the client. Yeah.
Well, do you think companies are embracing cybersecurity? And at what rate, according to your observation lately in the country, basing on the current statistics?
Interesting. So, how do you tell that companies are embracing? Let's first go back about 3 years ago. Uganda was ranked the #1 country on the National Cybersecurity Index. These are statistics that are populated by an American firm, but they rank different countries basing on their innovations and the reports that are released about cybercrime. So lately we find a lot of news in the media about cybercrime. We hear about banks that have been defrauded. We hear about cases of hacks and here and there. That is one step in the forward direction to tell you that people are embracing this. But even more so, as a cybersecurity company, our business trajectory is going higher, which means people are appreciating this more and more. We just had the October Cybersecurity Awareness Month. You guys have already told me how you heard about Milima from this Awareness Month, but it is not Milima. It is the cybersecurity message that we're passing on. So we've embarked on a very serious journey to popularize, not exactly popularize, but let people know more about cyber security. And if you go to these, you go to the police reports and check, there is more crime, cybercrime that has been reported, which means people are appreciating it more, and more people now know more. If you listen to your talk shows, you hear the Tom Ferrer campaigns and all of those, people are now more and more aware. Now, as the awareness increases, we're now embarking on another journey to emphasize to the companies the need to invest in cybersecurity solutions. Of course, cybersecurity solutions are quite premiumly priced, they're costly, but in the end, like I mentioned earlier, it then becomes very worth it. I mean, it's worth the investment, yeah. Yeah.
Very interesting. But I want to drive it. You talked about Uganda being ranked among those countries that are embracing cybersecurity. But what do you think, according to you as an expert, what is the missing link between the current reports that we have of actual losses? I may not disclose the names of the companies, but banking, telecommunication companies with losing billions of Ugandan shillings. What is that missing link in cybersecurity? You think that should be bridged?
All right. People are still grappling with the workarounds about the legal frameworks in place. People are afraid of who to report to, how to report to, or what to report. Of course, there's reporting cybercrime comes with a lot of adverse effects. If, as a bank, you went on and publicized your loss, next thing you know, all clients are withdrawing their monies from your account, from their accounts, you see. So that is one big challenge, but also the recovery time is a very big challenge. For many institutions, once they're defrauded heavily, you find over 50% of their working capital is affected. So the best they would do is either lie low or not publicize that, or even still now, the legal system is still growing. We have more and more understanding cybersecurity right now than before. So you find that these encumbrances make it a bit hard for the public. I mean, if you have a legal system where there are very few courts that prosecute cybercrime-related cases, then you know that it's going to be very hard. Well, only the big entities are able to report. What about you? If you lost 2,000 shillings 2 days ago, where would you go to? How would you start? So there's a bit more education required in terms of cyber laws and the actual implementation. The public also needs to be guided, probably a bit more effort by the police and the judicial system to just enlighten people, to make them not just be afraid of reporting cybercrime-related cases, but also giving them assurance of their ability or the government's capacity to prosecute on these offenses. Yeah.
Finally, let's go back. What are those mistakes that individuals make? Because now we've left the company side of it. Now we are looking at the individual in 2 minutes. Let's examine what are those small mistakes people make and they end up being frauded or hacked, and those mistakes they make ignorantly.
All right, thank you very much, Andrew. There's what we call the digital footprint. If I want to orchestrate a cyber attack as a hacker, the first thing I would want to know is learn about my target. Now, very many of us are very generous with our information on the internet. You go to Facebook, you find somebody's telephone numbers, their physical address, where they are and what they're doing at the moment. Go to Instagram, Twitter, and the like. Now, first and foremost, look out for yourself. How much do you give out there on the internet? That's one. Secondly, look at the software that you use on your machines, that's your phones, or your laptops, do you update this software? If you do not update this software, then that's an easier way for a hacker to access information about you. Do you use antiviruses? Many of us have pirated software and antiviruses that are not even licensed. Buy these licenses, yeah? You can come to me, Lima, and will guide you how you can do that, yeah? Beyond that, do you use public Wi-Fi to conduct sensitive transactions or to share sensitive information? You should not do that because public Wi-Fi most times is not protected. You can suffer what we call a man-in-the-middle attack, where you are transacting with the bank and I come in between the transaction and capture information, which I later on can use to defraud you. And very many other means, including reading more about cyber threats and occurrences of the same sort. And once you just look out for yourself, then if every one of us looked out for one another, then we're only, we like in security, we say two things. One, a cyber attack is a matter of when, not if, because eventually you can get hacked. And secondly, you're only as strong as you're only as secure as your neighbor is. So if you're not secure, your neighbor is not. And if your neighbor is not secure, then you as well are not secure. Yeah.
Thank you, Jerome, for that.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, the discussion has been on cybersecurity, but take-home points for an individual: public Wi-Fi. Be careful as you're using the public Wi-Fi. Take caution of the softwares you're using. Some are pirated, and also remember to update your softwares, and also the aspect of mind what you give out there on the internet. Those are, I believe, quite wonderful take-homes for the individuals. For the companies, do cyber audits, just as you do financial audits prior. Andrew Barige, this is Smart Men's Business on Ground.
Andrew Barige with Jerome. Just got me reminded that initially my birth certificate had got a Jerome on there. And someone told me Jerome sounds more like German. Jerome does sound more like English. Then there's Jeremy, sounds more like the Americas. Yeah. So all the same. And many thanks for being part of Smart Men's Business Tuesday. Murire muta abantu bembara, mwaramutse abantu berwanda, habari ya leo East Africa. Good morning Uganda. Hope you are well. We are definitely here to make sure that we give you all the business updates as they happen up to speed. Just a quick one. Be mindful of who you share your passwords with over the internet, because sometimes you go to realize you may be sharing sensitive information that may cost you financially in the long run. That's all we have for you in the morning show today. Till tomorrow, have yourselves a blessed day. Lots of more to come. After the show, we shall be having Financial Markets with Anthony Sebale. Later on, Yugi to collect with Fred Makubia. And definitely Skill Up with Naume Mutumba. Jenkola with Hassan Duga. Let's in the night will be more from business today, dedicated to giving you business reports on a daily. But before I do leave, just to remind you that saving and investment is taking center stage as the world is going further into transitioning and evolving into the cashless economy. Zabu, a platform by Altex East Africa, says you can do something new today. Zabu, my money, my future. You can open up an account using your NIN, and in the next 24 hours, you'll be ready to invest in bonds and securities. Star 292 hash for the MTN subscribers is the way to go. These markets are open at 8:15 a.m. and close at 3:15 p.m. East African Standard Time. These markets are only closed during weekends and during public holidays. So do endeavor to see your savings grow by saving for investment. Zabu, my money, my future. Altex South Africa says do something new. And 10 minutes to 10 a.m. Time for me to sign out. I wish you a blessed day. Good morning.